Hey, hey, hey. Let's see, my camera is. There we go. We are here. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the last stream of the year. I wasn't sure whether I was going to do anything tonight. I just got back today from being a be really nasty and keep freezing on me. I don't know why. Maybe I'll take a bunch of things down. Exit. Maybe I should have done it. Okay, so we're back again, hopefully. Hopefully it won't freeze on me. But yeah, what can I say? I had a good week up at my dad's. Probably have to repeat a lot of what I'm going to say because of people coming in and leaving and whatever, and nobody's here. Nobody's expecting a stream tonight, so you know, just it's going to be interesting if we get any viewers. Oh, you know what we should do? Maybe to help is put. Share this out because normally our chill streams are on Tuesday nights, but tonight we're doing it because we're going to be out tomorrow night with a buddy at his place watching some vids. Yeah. Switch. Let's put this here. Okay, so there we go. Yeah. So, I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I have up my, of course, illustration, so I could draw something. I'm not going to draw. I don't know what even to draw if I draw anything. Let me make me a little bigger, maybe, until I decide to draw. Yeah, so just hung out at my dad's, didn't do much. I tried to get online, but internet, he tried to use his laptop to get online, but internet up there is really, really sketchy. So, as you may know from when I was up there back in late April, early May, doing some streams, doing the chill stream on Tuesday nights. Yeah, so yeah, just figured I'd come hang out with whoever comes here, chat about, see how everybody's Christmases went, anybody's plans for New Year's Eve, which is of course tomorrow. So what else can I say? I'm just trying to talk. So I just moved the canvas over in case I want to draw. Let's see. What's up? Hey, Wise, how are you? How was your Christmas? Not much. I just figured I'd get one in last stream in for the end of the year. I just got back today to Hamilton. I was up at my dad's for a week in Hepworth, Ontario, which probably don't know where that is. And I'll say between a couple towns, which again you probably don't even know where are, between Owen Sound and Wyerton in Ontario here. So yeah, I just figured to come on, do one last stream because I'm not going to be able to do my normal Tuesday night stream tomorrow night because, New Year's Eve. And I'm going to have stuff that I'm doing. I got stuff that I'm doing. See how, if anybody else has plans for New Year's, what they might be. Yeah. So yeah, I was up at my dad's for the week. We just sat, watched TV, talked about it, a bit about this. Yes, I'm in Canada. Talked about this, that, and everything. A little bit of this, a little bit of that, as we watched some, some YouTube, a bunch of Christmas movies, a bunch of other stuff on thing. Actually, I started watching Bel Air. I guess I could say I started watching. I checked it out. Could be better. The Sunday prior, I made a mistake of going ice skating, broke my leg. I am in a split. Ooh, ouch. I'm sorry to hear that. I guess that puts a damper on New Year's plans. Probably put a little bit of a damper on Christmas. I noticed, I've had my leg broken before. I had to have it sort of in a splint, in a boot, as they say. Well, what they have is boot. They didn't really. It's, I guess, the newfangled thing for cast or a splint. So, yeah. But yeah, I'm not very good at skating. I think that's a walking cast. Yeah, I haven't seen too many. I may be getting one of those tomorrow. Oh, okay. Yeah, I haven't really seen too many casts nowadays. I don't think they really do much. Me either. I was trying to be careful. Yeah, but I don't know. 15 years ago, I went to a skating event through my church, and I went and got some better skates. Got ones I had sharpened or whatever. I figured, and when how your thing's supposed to like this, my legs my ankles go like that when I'm on skates, so it ends up really hurting bad afterwards. And I decided then, screw it, I'm not getting on skates ever again. I'm not doing it because I can't skate, and I doubt there's anything. The only thing that could get me on skates ever again is if I had a kid and doing skating things with them. But guess what? Probably not even then. I'll watch you from the sidelines. I ain't gonna kill my ankles over this or get up as you, a broken leg. But yeah, so like I said, yeah, it sucks. Yeah, for sure. And I had an uncle who owned a skate and bicycle store, so it was like pretty decent, like when I was younger, I could always get skates through him, Well, I had an uncle with his son, who was my cousin, and eventually, but the son sold it a while back. Yeah, it sucks. What's funny is, up until recently, I wished I'd broken a bone when I was younger so I could get a cast for my friends and families to draw on. Yeah, but they don't do casts like that anymore, unfortunately. I can't remember the last time I'd seen an actual cast like that in real life. And I think it's so people can get their, hey, Parasocial, how are you? How was your Christmas? Any plans for New Year's? As I was saying, to what we were just talking about broken legs and stuff like that. Thank you. Yeah, as you can see, this is my last stream of the year. So, yes, Happy New Year to both of you as well. We were just talking about something Wise did to himself and broke his leg. Not yesterday, but the Sunday before, just before Christmas. So we were talking about that, and he did it during skating. So we were talking a little bit about that. So I was commenting on some of my things about skating. Like I can't skate worth a beans. So I actually about 15 years ago. I went to a skating event. Went to a skating event through my church. I went and got the skates I had sharpened or whatever. I forget. But yeah, when I skate, my feet go like that. So I end up really having really sore ankles. But I guess I just can't balance properly on that blade. So it's like, and this was about 15 years ago, maybe longer, I don't know. I just said, screw it, I'm never skating again. It's like, this is not worth the trouble, once every 5 or 10 years to go to something and get my ankles sore like that. It's not worth it. So it's like, nah. I'll just cheer from the sidelines or something if I go to some sort of skating event. And ouch, so you broke 2 fingers. How'd that happen? If you don't mind me asking. But yeah, my brother was good at hockey. I never learned to skate. Yeah, and I was saying, well, you have family that's from the Hamilton area. If you remember Davison Sport and Cycle, that was my uncle and my cousin that ran it after my uncle died. Well, even I think he ran it before he died because I think my uncle retired. And he sold the business when he retired a few years ago, and well, closed down the business more like it because his son didn't want to take it over. And he was saying Wise, as you can see, was saying about wanting when he was younger, wanting to get a cast so somebody could draw on, but I don't think they do regular casts nowadays. But yeah, years ago, bookshelf started to fall off my car. I tried to catch it and got caught. Oh, so you broke 2 fingers years ago. That's not recent. I was thinking that you meant you broke it in the last week or so. Yeah, well, as for brokenness, I have cracked my head open when I was younger. I've had a hairline fracture in my foot. I got hit by a car and broke my I think ankle. But the worst is when I crash my e-bike. I need it to be operated on. When I got hit by the car, I didn't actually have any surgery, so it wasn't that bad. But when I crashed my e-bike, I had to have surgery. I now have a metal on my leg and some screws in it, my one leg. Yeah, no, years ago. Years and years ago. Okay. Yeah, so, yeah, I know what it's like to have a bone broken. I think I've done a couple other things too. But, hey. But, how'd your Christmas go, Parasocial? Any plans for New Year's? I know me, going over to a buddy's place with my cousin's Blu-ray player that I bought her, and we're gonna watch some movies. I don't know what yet. I'm gonna try and go up to Walmart tomorrow morning. After I get cut off on my job searching, because I didn't do any job searching this last week that I've been up at my dad's. I tried to, but as I was saying earlier, the internet up there sucked. I tried to go on his laptop, but everything was just so. And then trying to log into Indeed and all that had problems. So tomorrow morning when I get up, doing probably a week and a half's worth of job searching to apply to a bunch of stuff tomorrow morning. I'll probably end up going up to Walmart, see if there's any Boxing Day movies still available, cheap. Usually Boxing Day, I usually like to go and get some cheap movies. Got a fireplace inspector. We got firewood delivered, so we are just watching movies and having a fire. Cool, yeah. Well, except for the fire, doing the same thing. Having pop. My buddy's buying pop and chips and all that stuff, and buying a pizza, and we're gonna sit back, watch some movies for 4 or 5 hours or something like that. And then, I'll come back here, get some sleep, and then I don't know what I'm doing Wednesday. I might end up doing a stream on Wednesday because there's not going to be much to do on Wednesday. Really. The one place I usually go to for lunch on Wednesdays, it's a free. I don't think it's open because of being New Year's Day. Well, I think it's open for a few hours, but I don't think they're doing the normal meal that they have on a Wednesday. So, hey, it is what it is, right? And then of course Tuesday or Thursday, I go apply for welfare, and hopefully I get it. And if I do, hey, I've got a place. I've already paid first month, so. Why is this saying nice? So I guess you didn't do much for Christmas then, Parasocial? Well, not that you have to tell me either, but yeah, I know I got the screen here. Anybody wanting see me draw anything? I normally on the chill streams I draw something or other. Well, hopefully I am. Yeah. No fire movies. Oh, you did fire movies for Christmas? I don't even know what Xenu looks like. Let's see. Typing in, I'm not going to be able to see for a second or two. Because Xenu. Oh, that's South Park. The surprising through history of Xenu science Galactic Empire, okay. Looks like there's not really people have used the gray alien, it looks like, as a template. But it doesn't, I don't think there's a real thing, yeah. Calculating feel pouting. Yeah, like I said, the gray alien seems to be the template, but not small. Like almost Thor, well, except for bigger. Thor from Star Trek SG-1, yeah. Yeah, go nuts, be creative. Hey Mike, how are you? Thank you for dropping by to hit the like and sharing and saying hi. Xenu is something that I'll say Parasocial is into. It's sort of a religious thing. The best thing I can say is just go. Where did I put mine? In my pocket. Yours are right here. So.
Drink it right out of the jug on camera. Well, that's cool.
So if you want to say a little bit more about what it is, Parasocial, I don't know a lot about it. I did a quick reference to it before, and obviously I just looked it up, but I looked more imaging up. that's all. Yeah, that's all the images there are. Yeah, but what? I am more like maybe try and tell them what Xenu is about. I know you've summarized it before. Summarized it a little bit better than me. Also, if you upload yours somewhere, it could become canon. I could actually probably make it in my universe. I actually do at one point intend to put the what we have as mythological gods in my universe, but I'm going to take a cue from Stargate, and they will be aliens. Of course, they will look different than Stargate. They'll, so. Actually, that's an arc that I want to do too. The War of the Gods, like all these different alien races come back and they end up warring, and of course, my heroes have to take them on. One thing to speak to cultural Christians. He doesn't easily fit into Xenu, you mean, of course. But what's the... I know before you said what's, I guess, shall we say the philosophy, I guess, is the best way to think of it around him? Or maybe a little bit of the history? Yeah, mythology, I guess, is another way to say it, too. Oh, he was the president of Congress, royal officers of this section of the galaxy. Actually, could I join the show? I would let you, but where I am, the internet sucks, and I am doing this through OBS, and the easiest way I could probably bring you on is Discord. I'm not sure whether you have that. And I guess we could try, but I'm not sure whether it's going to break my internet or not, so... Yeah, you do have Discord. What am I thinking? Are you in my Discord?
A lot of the stuff half the stuff in the dryer, one is still wet. Well, not wet. Yeah. Put it around again.
Okay. Okay, so not hearing back from you at the moment, so proceeds because you are in the detective squad, right? Are you still here, Parasocial? Hey, Gemini. Mucha Luca. Yeah. I forget what that means. How are you, Gemini? How was your Christmas? Any plans for New Year's?
Yeah, there. Come on.
Luchador cartoon, okay.
Come on.
Oh, hey. Oh, okay, you're trying to log in. Yeah, if you go, once you log in, let me know, and you just gotta go down to find the voice channels, open that up, and select the on-air one. Just enjoying time off. Well, that's good. That's always good. it's good that you're enjoying the time off. Okay. Did he go with you?
Partway. I went into the room and turned the door on and came right back out to the hallway for crying. This one back there.
No, that's... Well, I guess not good that she was crying. But good that didn't run off too far. Minotaur crab wrestler. Yeah, I'm not sure. Well, I'm going extremely weird, as you can see in this drawing. What I am drawing is my rendition of Zenyu. And if you want to know what that is, try and read a few things that Parasoso said. He's trying to log into Discord, maybe to say a little bit more. I gotta figure stuff out a little bit better in here. I don't know what this thing is. Put some wings on it now. Bat wings. Oh, and Parasocial, I did contact Goodnight Spoon and wished him a Merry Christmas, not only for me, but from you, as you requested, because I told you that I was going to reach out to him. He was gonna last Tuesday. He tried to come on my stream, but I found out I wasn't having a stream. Well, like, come on as in, be in the chat. And he's like, what happened? And I just told him I took the week off because going up to my dad's. Okay, checking. Ooh. Oh, okay. What is your server icon? It's my cross comic symbol, I believe. Yeah, the cross comic symbol emblem. So that would be something similar to that. But a little bit more 3D-ish looking. And you know what? Just for anybody who wants to join, edit link, never expire, maximum limit, generate new link, copy. Okay, so for anybody that might want to Jeez, what is this? It's literally copying just the hidden use copy button. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to. Here, let me. There should be an invite in the website. I'm copying it from the that's the one that's in the whatchamacallit, the description. Does that work? Should work. And everyone, if you can hit the like and share as well. Okay. Let's see what this uses for. We don't want to do video. Voice and video. Okay, hopefully it can use both. Output and okay, so yeah, I see that it worked to get you there. So you're just gonna have to scroll down the side, find the voice channels, open that up so you see all of them, and go to the on-air one. Okay, did you get that? I see you there. I can hear you now. Let me do that. Okay. Yeah, nobody can hear you yet, unfortunately. Default.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Okay. Talk?
Yeah. Yes. Test. Can you hear?
Okay. It's coming through on as desktop audio on when you talk on OBS. Now it's a question of whether people on the stream can hear you. So let me.
Okay. What I can
It's a question of whether people
what I'll do is
on
I'll
the
open
stream
you up
can
on
hear you.
another window on another device. Okay. What I can
Question
see if,
whether people
what I'll do is I'll
on the
open you
stream
up
can
on
hear you.
another window on another. I can hear my beautiful voice.
Question whether people
What I'll do is I'll
on the
open you
stream
up
can
on
hear you.
another window on another. I can hear my beautiful voice.
Yeah, they can hear you. I opened.
All right, terrific. So can you hear me relatively clearly, or?
Well, I had two sets of audios playing in my head, so it's like.
Right.
I think it's relatively clear. Anybody out in the chat will hopefully let us know.
Okay. Well, sure. It's Christmas time. It's a great time to gather around with friends and tell the Xenu story. And it's not for Christians. Like L. Ron Hubbard was obviously, he grew up Christian. I don't think he was ever. Well, I don't know if he went to church or not. I think they're unclear about that. But he was definitely a cultural Christian. I mean, he grew up in the 30s and 40s in the States, right, in the Midwest.
Yeah.
But the story, the Xenu story, does not neatly fall into the whole God, Satan, Jesus, Redemptor. You kind of have to. That's more of a hindrance in understanding the story than it leads to.
I wouldn't expect it to. Like there's so many mythologies out there, and most of them wouldn't fit into that.
Right, exactly. So when I come on and I say praise Xenu, that's actually, what do you call that? Not an anachronism. It's inaccurate because you don't actually praise Xenu in Scientology. You definitely don't, as a matter of fact. He's somewhere some people kind of mistakenly call him Satan, Space Satan. But if you know Scientology a little bit more deeper, not that I know, well, actually, I'm into Scientology. I know for a non-member, I know a fair amount about it, and it is. He's actually he's much more of a Greek god. Like he's more of a figure. But anyway, the legend of Xenu is told to you. Only about 10% of Scientologists actually know the story of Xenu, and it is not revealed until they are at their operating Thetan level of level 3, which can only be found in an advanced organization. And there's the advanced AOLA, the St. Hill Advanced Organization of America in Los Angeles. There's the Flag Land Base in Tampa, Florida, and I believe in Cambridge, Ontario. At least I read about they bought some Deer Lodge, bad skiing resort to try to renovate it to turn it into an AOLA Southern Ontario or Canada, they'll call it. But I don't think it's open yet. Or the last time I read about it, like a year ago, it wasn't open. So it might be open by now. But anyway, so you're only at 10%, an elite group of Scientologists get to know about Xenu. The others don't. And it costs about $300,000 baseline to get the original Xenu story. And that's a minimum. That's not a maximum. Many people spend a couple of $1 million to get the information because they ask you for donations now along the way. And so, yes, and there's one place in Denmark, the Advanced Organization of Europe, and the Advanced Organization of South Africa, the African AOLA, and AOLA Perth, I think it is, and AOLA St. Hill, which is this beautiful little town in southern England where Scientology, at least for a while, was headquartered from. But anyway, so that's to tell you sort of to understand the way Scientologists view the story. And the story itself has been told very accurately on South Park and is actually documented online with WikiLeaks. WikiLeaks first became famous for leaking Scientology information and the OT3 materials, and only later to become even more famous for, what's the name, the Australian guy, Julian Assange revelations. But yes, so the story, 75 million years ago, in this sector of the galaxy, there was the Galactic Confederation, which may or may not have had 33 planets in it, or I may be thinking of Star Trek.
Star Trek's Federation has a lot more than 33, I believe. So.
Oh, okay, yeah. So I think it might be 33 planets. But they were suffering. They had elected President Xenu. And this is where the story gets a little, well, it is convoluted and it's a little unclear. But what happened was Xenu was president of the Congress of Loyal Officers. And loyal officers are obviously there's a Congress of them and they rule this sector of the galaxy. And Xenu wanted to introduce an income tax. And the rest of the universe realized that, or Xenu realized, though, that when he introduced an income tax, the galaxy would rebel against him. And this is where the story is a little unclear. It's been a couple of years since I read it. I should have reread it. But so President Xenu of the galaxy tried to install income tax. And the way he did it was no, he didn't. Okay, that's not why he did it. Okay, sorry, I'm remembering the order better now. So there was an overpopulation problem. No, he did introduce the income tax. Okay, he introduced the income tax. The galaxy revolted against him. So what he did is he declared that the planets were overpopulated in this galaxy. So he sent spaceships, which were coincident. Oh no, he brought people in for income tax audits. And psychologists convince people to keep following Xenu and to go in and get their income taxes reviewed. So he would invite you, you would get invited to your local tax office where an agent would inject you with glycol, which would supposedly put your body in suspended animation and make you frozen, sort of like a hypersleep. And then you got hypersleep. You were put on planes that actually exactly resembled DC-9s, only with space engines. And he gathered up billions of people and injected their bodies with glycol so they were frozen but still alive. And he flew them in a vast armada towards Tijiak. And once these planes spaceships reached Tijiak, they dropped all the cartons containing the bodies and grouped them around groups of volcanoes. Some of which I think were in the Canary Islands and some of which were in the Pacific Islands. I can't remember the specific islands, but they're specific island volcanoes they were put into.
So
And
Tikiju, or however you said it, is supposed to be Earth, obviously.
yeah, Tijiak.
TGM.
Tijiak is Earth. So he dropped them around the volcanoes, but they're still alive at this point. So what he did was he dropped nuclear bombs into the volcanoes so the volcanoes would explode and destroy all the boxes. Make sense?
Sure, I guess so.
Yeah, sure, sort of, up to a point, right? Within its own context, it makes sense. But what happened was the one thing that Xenu knew that we do not is that we are all not our bodies. We are, in fact, Thetans. And Thetans are immortal beings which can do anything, basically, with thought. The thoughts of a Thetan can become reality if a Thetan so wishes. And these Thetans are immortal and indestructible, almost. Or at least, they're not undamageable, but they are indestructible. So what happened when these bodies all got killed was all these Thetans were released and were roaming the Earth. And normally what they would do is they would go back out into space and find another body, and they would implant into the body and live another life. But Xenu was a crafty fellow, and he had installed an electronic field all around the Earth, which prevented these Thetans from escaping Earth. And then what he did was he made implant stations so that, again, there were literally billions and billions of these Thetans now roaming the Earth looking for bodies to inhabit and not finding the bodies that they previously inhabited from their home planets. But they did find humans and were able to install themselves in humans. But of course, there weren't enough humans, so there were extra bodies. So what to do about this? How to prevent the Thetans who did get human bodies from escaping the electronic field in Tijiak and going back to overthrow Xenu at the Congress. How to prevent that, yet how to keep them how to keep the rest of them on Earth permanently. So what he did was when a Thetan died out of a human body, they were taken by Xenu's forces to a between lives special area. And they're given movie picture shows of engrams. So, and part of the engram was the picture of Christ on the cross, like really evocative images, the image of a volcano, the image of maybe, say, a child crying, or a wolf howling. These really strong images that we all universally react to are because we've seen engrams of these in the Between Lives section when we're dead or not occupying a body and we're being shown these movies. And part of the effect of these engram implantation stations is to make you forget your previous lives in your previous bodies. So you would get taken to a between lives area and told everything's honky dory. We're getting you a new body, and you would remember your life at that point, like every good Thetan does. But then the engram stations would make you forget your past life and give you amnesia, and then they would give you a basic set of what would you call it, like a psychology, like psychological images, although you never refer to anything as psychology in Scientology because they're the devil or they are evil. So so you got these engrams into you with powerful images that leaders use to control, or I don't want to say manipulate, but manipulate, control, direct, say, other human beings, like the image of Christ on the cross, or the sound of a child crying, or the sound of a wolf howling, or the sight of a snake slithering. Amongst human beings, almost all invoke the same emotions, even though we're all different people born at different times. So what happened, though, is meanwhile, back at the Congress of Loyal Officers, the Congress realized that Xenu was killing people and entrapping people and blowing them up with nuclear bombs, and even worse, Xenu was cooperating with psychologists, and even worse, Xenu was still implementing his income tax plan, which is the devil. So he was overthrown in a civil war by the loyal officers, and the loyal officers overthrew him, captured him, but again, he's a Thetan like everybody else, and he can never be destroyed. So what to do with him? Well, they took him to Tijiak, and they buried him underneath a mountain. And again, Thetans could escape. So they set up an electrical field over Xenu's mountainous... actually, I don't think they killed him. They left him alive in whatever body. But they buried him in a mountain 75 million years ago with an electronic field to keep him there underneath it. But the field is powered by a battery, and the battery only lasts 75 million years. And that was 75 million years ago. And yes, so that explains much about Scientology, although it leads to as many confusions as not, because Scientology is deliberately complicated and kind of enjoys telling narratives and leading its members down, I don't want to call them logic traps, but because a lot of them are almost anti-logic traps. But he, as a fiction writer, was a very he wasn't scientific and he wasn't educated, and people slam him for that. But he did have a grasp of basic psychology and of how humans thought. Like he was.
Just to say something to Wise here. He says, "Oh, this is related to that Scientology cult. Bleep. I'll pass. Try not to get sucked into it." Well, I obviously I'm not getting sucked into it.
You're not getting sucked into it.
I'm just hearing what it is about. To me, obviously no offense, and I don't think you would. To me, it sounds like the plot of a bad B movie.
Oh, okay, wait for it. All right, here's the picture. So I told you the original way that OT3 was supposed to be and is currently presented to Scientologists, right? You pay $300,000, you take years of counseling, and then you rise to OT3 and you go to a city far away, like halfway across your continent, go to a city, pay another, tens of thousands of dollars more, and then someone brings in a briefcase every day, or actually they handcuff the briefcase with the materials to you every day and make you go read it in a little room on your own, except for those parts that are read by your case supervisor or your auditor. So, but here's the thing: if they say the reason they kept OT3, or the reason L1 kept O3T secret, was that during the research he did to discover OT3, he almost died. And anyone else who went through the, quote, wall of fire that he went through to do his research and didn't know the proper way would die in the attempt. So if you as a human heard about the OT3 story and you hadn't taken $300,000 worth of Scientology, you would die of pneumonia quickly or of something else.
Well,
So-
and that part, unfortunately, to me, sounds like a bit of a money
Okay.
grab.
That's part one. But here's where we loop back to your B movie idea. So the church was really rocking and rolling in Southern California in the 1970s. And what happened in 1978 that every 50-year-old man remembers fondly? Anyone? Star Wars came up in 1978. And I think to that point, like, was as big a blockbuster or one of the biggest blockbusters like ever, if not the biggest in theatrical history. So suddenly, here's L. Ron Hubbard, fiction writer extraordinaire, starting this little church in Los Angeles, and Star Wars pops off. And suddenly all the studios are looking for science fiction projects. So what does L. Ron do? But he does up about a 20-page, it's kind of a short story novella type thing. It's not exactly a movie script, but he writes out, it's called Revolt in the Stars, and you can just Google it, Revolt in the Stars Scientology, and you'll find a copy of it online somewhere, all over the place. And he did the Xenu story with Revolt in the Stars, including pretty much everything I mentioned in the narrative, but he included like all the like lady men. Oh, that's the other thing. Xenu was gay because to L. Ron Hubbard, like to many people who grew up in the Midwestern United States, being gay in the 30s, 40s, 50s meant like perverted and evil, but perverted in a way like sort of sort of unnatural sort of thing. So anyway, so Lady Min and his wife, but this is the 50s, remember? So you can't say gay. You can't even show like couples in a bed barely, like a heterosexual couple in a marriage bed, for Christ's sakes. So you can't say the word gay. So there's all this language that Mike hates because it's gay coding.
You would be able to say gay, probably more of the word homosexual, because back, I think in the 50s, gay would have still meant happy.
No, Mike is crazy about that. Queer and gay have been in the use since the 1800s, but so it would be context dependent, right? Most people contextually don't talk about homosexuality. So when they talk about gay, most of the time it meant, like Christmas or, snowmobiling or something fun, right? Like happiness.
Happy.
But
you hear the word gay in a lot of stuff from the 50s.
They write letters home saying, like, we're having a gay time, was one thing soldiers would write home. So it was context specific, though. Queer and gay were already in use, and you can like go to the Oxford English Dictionary and find out, they go back to the 1800s. So if you talked about men, so the thing is the culture didn't have, like now, like if you talk about gay in Hollywood, you automatically think of homosexuals. In the 1950s, if you said gay in Hollywood, you would automatically think of like a big party or something, like a gaiety or a gay ball or whatever.
Yeah. A lot of happy people.
So whatever, in Revolt in the Stars, there's this stuff that says Xenu is gay because he's evil, but it doesn't use the word gay. So it says stuff like, I don't think Xenu has ever touched a woman, or I'm married to Xenu, but he never touches me. And she says that a few times, and then she tries to have a shag with one of the loyal officers, and it's gay coding. It's like Mike always says, like Mike will go out and read these over the top, sometimes like gay scenes, or you've seen them, like the sex, like TNA, XXX, for Christ's sake. So it's again, he'll read these like gay coded scenes from the 40s and 50s, and he'll say, the word queer didn't mean queer back then, which is untrue. But
well, to most people back then, it would have meant weird.
So, but definitely, so there's this gay coding in Revolt in the Stars, which is hilarious. And there's all these 1950s sort of Flash Gordon quality names. Like, all I can remember, I used to remember these names, like Lady Min, I think, was Xenu's wife. And she joined the loyal officers, started shagging them, and cooperated in killing Xenu. And then a psychologist kidnapped her and takes her away on a spaceship. And then there's a little subplot where the psychologist and the loyal officer, a loyal officer chases the spaceship with Lady Min, and it kills the psychologist, rescues her, and then there's a little subplot where Lady Min like helps lead the revolt. So I guess it's a feminist tract of some order. So basically, but what the guy did is he turned it into this novella, and then he shopped it all over to every major studio and every minor studio in Hollywood in like 1981, 82. He went from telling Scientologists that if you heard the OT3 story, you were going to hear if you heard it without doing like years of Scientology preparation, you would get pneumonia and die, or you'd die even more horribly. But instead he wrote up a cheap B-movie novelization. And in the 80s, they were grabbing. You saw some of the stuff that came out in the in the 80s after Star Wars. Like, it was not all good. There was plenty of B-level stuff. But L. Ron Hubbard never got his B-level material made, the OT3 story. But he tried. And I mean, the story is as good as like other movies that came out at the time. Like, I'm talking B movies or A- movies.
Yeah.
I even say an A- movie, at least, depending on how it was done. Because it's got some twists and turns. But, the guy's really weird in the 50s.
Yeah.
So it is a B movie. It did turn into a B movie block. And, the way you sell a movie is they call it a treatment. It's just like a sales presentation.
Yeah.
It's not like a full script. It's not like a full story.
The
it's
pitch.
like it's a pitch, it's a pitch. And so the OT3 story got turned into a pitch in like 81, 82. And then it's kind of interesting. Had it came out, I think by then he had already said that if you heard OT3 without preparation, you were going to get pneumonia. So he would have to explain to his church how he sold out his script and got a movie made of OT3 and why people all around the world weren't dying of pneumonia. Unless, of course, they did all suddenly die of pneumonia had they seen the movie. Maybe that would have happened too. Then that would have made perfect sense for his churchgoers. But so anyway, it's I should have reread Revolt in the Stars. It only takes like 20 minutes, but which is about as long as it took me to log onto Discord. But it's a weird story, and to me. So Xenu, I guess Xenu is like on the BBC. That one reporter, I can't remember his name, the guy who got in a shouting match as a BBC reporter with a Scientology spokesman. He's covering the war in Ukraine now, but he described it as Space Satan in his documentary, BBC documentary. So it's kind of a Space Satan. And actually, now that I'm telling the story, he is a little more traditionally evil. But again, he's kind of a Greekish god too, in that it's more that, I don't know. He's like, he's a ruler. I guess he has the aspects of God as a ruler, but he's a dick. So I guess that's Satan, because Satan rules the earth. So sure. Now I'm being a hypocrite here, but maybe I'm not remembering the story perfectly, but he sounds more and more like Satan. But in the past, I thought he's not quite Satan, but he's close. So so that is the Xenu story. And that's why I didn't want to try typing it in, because I'm not at my keyboard. I'm just laying in bed with my tablet, and it would have taken me like forever to type.
Yeah, I understand. For sure. Well, I gotta put some clothes on them, obviously, now, but there's the beginning of my Xenu. Unless you're, well, you can't see it on the thing, but Yeah.
Oh no, I can't. Let me see if I unwindow Discord. I'll see. I don't think Discord's gonna work if I change windows. Let me try. Can you still hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay, it does work. So I'll look at. Oh no, I gotta leave the volume on my tablet. Okay, I'm gonna echo us from something here. Okay, yeah. Oh yeah, now I see the picture. Yeah, that's pretty good. The thing is Xenu is actually more human looking. He's described as living in a society that exactly resembles 1950s America.
Oh, okay. I just decided to go really whacked out. But like I said, I gotta put clothes on them, so too.
Oh yeah, I like it. I like the four legs. I like the claw and the like
big
armor
hand.
fist, warhammer fist.
Yeah.
But yeah, Xenu is one of the few descriptions of him is that he's like humanoid, resembling 1950s.
Actually,
but that doesn't mean you want to stamp a ridge on his forehead or something like Star Trek.
Yeah.
But I mean, or something more. Do something more creative. I would recommend. But
yeah, unfortunately, I actually got to add a piece to the arms because you know how we got like one piece here. I guess this bicep and tricep. I was wanting to add another piece like one of these before you get to the quote unquote hand section.
Let me see here. I'm gonna crack open. There we go. Let me crack open some of the one out there. So let me crack open some. Yeah, okay, now I can see a little thing on my phone in one of my tablet. Yeah.
Yeah, so I've got to put clothes on him, I just one sec, he looks naked.
Yeah. He's like he's the president, right?
Yeah.
So he should look like presidential somehow, but evil. I don't know if you can do presidential evil. You can do like Red Hulk, like make him a white man. Make him a white man, and everyone will assume he's evil.
Yeah. Y said a while ago, I'm not sure whether he still is. He says John Travolta starred in a movie based on Dianetics. I forgot the name, and it was disguised as sci-fi.
Not exactly. That was Battlefield Earth, and it definitely has a lot of like themes of Scientology and the alien, the cyclones.
He said Dianetics. I'm not sure whether that's Scientology or not.
Yeah, it is. What happened actually is L. Ron Hubbard, after his World War II treatment, he applied for psychological help. He actually, and this is what no Scientologist will believe if you tell them, is that L. Ron Hubbard, after World War II, having gotten a very minor injury, I think he had he had pink eye, and he also was claiming to have some sort of back injury, which he was probably faking for a disability pension. But what he did is he actually applied for psychological help, and this is the end of World War II, right? Like, there ain't enough psychologists and psychiatrists on planet Earth or all of this sector of the galaxy to like take care of people of soldiers' trauma, or he was in the Navy, right? So of every sailor's trauma, that's not going to happen. So instead what he did, he wrote this book on Dianetics, and it was where you were supposed to get a partner and you would give therapy to each other, and it's talking therapy. So there wasn't, and what he did is he wrote Dianetics, and he got he got some publicity in a science fiction magazine, saying that it was the biggest advance in human knowledge about the brain in ever, or since Freud or something like that. So he said it was the science of the mind, and it was the biggest advance in science that there'd ever been, and you would pair up in twos, and you would
Yeah.
audit each other. So you do Dianetics auditing, which is basically you tell an incident that of trauma, and then you just repeat it over and over and over again, basically, until you understand it. And what apparently is like as an academic will admit, that talking about traumatic incidents is, in most cases, actually reduces the impact that they have on your life. So that part you got right? But that was guessed at, not really known, but guessed at all the way back to Freud. So basically, you're just talking about yourself to your friends for hours on Earth, for hours at a time, right?
Yeah.
So and so it's apparently really appealing to people because people like to talk about themselves more than they admit they do.
Yeah.
And
it half reminds me of I think the first episode of DS9 where Cisco encounters the prophets, the Bajoran prophets, for the first time. Well, almost the first time, and they keep they don't keep bringing him back, but they keep bringing him back to. I think it's supposed to be like the death of his wife at Battle of Wolf 359, and he's like, "Why do you keep bringing me back here?" And he's like, "We're not. This is where you live."
Yeah, exactly. So he wrote Dianetics, and then he tried to set up Dianetics clubs everywhere to try to get people to sell Dianetics memberships, and then he went bankrupt a couple of times, and he defrauded a couple of investors. And so one of the investors ended up owning the name Dianetics because L. Ron went bankrupt or something, and somehow in the bankruptcy, this other guy was the creditor of the Dianetics Foundation. So he ended up owning the rights to Dianetics. But that, luckily for L. Ron, only lasted a couple of years because he was able to that's when he went on to found Scientology, and then he quickly bought back the rights to Dianetics, which ended up being a big mistake because I do think Dianetics, except for the Bible, is like one of the best-selling American books ever, which is true. It's because they did all through the 70s and 80s and 90s. Everybody remembers these late-night infomercials with a volcano, and people don't remember Scientology or Dianetics, but if you play the volcano commercial to people our age, it all comes back as like an infomercial. And so it is a bestseller. And that's not that big a deal. To be a bestseller is not as difficult as you'd think. But I mean, it turned out it still is like a few $1 million or a few $1 million in sales that this bankrupted businessman had in his hands, and he let it get away. But
now, with all that said, I'm not sure whether it's a dumb question or not. You don't actually believe in the Xenu stuff, right? Or do you?
I believe it in the same way that, I'll say something that could be taken as really offensive, but I hope it isn't. I believe in the Xenu story like Christians believe in the Christ story, I think. And I kind of think that in different ways. But yeah, that's my answer to that. So it's a story, and so I believe in the story, sort of, and that's what I usually say. However, as far as the Church of Scientology goes, I visited they have a Dianetics Center on the main street in Edmonton, and I visited there 3 times. Actually, we went there about 3 times to go see it, and it was closed. And I mean, we went at like Friday afternoon at 2, at like a Wednesday morning at 10. Like, we went during business hours, right? And Scientology doesn't do like Sunday service. Or actually, they do a Sunday service, but no one ever goes to them. So, like, you can't like just go to a Sunday service and pop by and see Scientology. They only do that for the media. When someone's investigating them or they want to put on a good impression, or when they were used to be scared they didn't have religious status, that's when they introduce Sunday services. But what they really do is sell courses. So I went there a couple of times. We tried to go to the church to go in and have a look around. Finally, just by accident, we tried one time when we were just like a block away anyway, and they were there. And so we picked up I picked up a couple of courses, and then you're supposed to take them in the course room with the supervisor. And L. Ron says don't let new members management. I don't think L. Ron himself, although probably L. Ron probably has. But you're not supposed to let a single student sit in the course room if they're a new student. You're supposed to put in other people to make him look like he's part of a group. So when I went there, I went there 3 or 4 or 5 times casually walking by. It was always closed. The day I went there to do my course, there was about 5 people, 3 upstairs, and there was a course room supervisor and another guy, all sitting around at a brand new, and they just moved into the to the office they were renting, and there were like 4 people there. And but every other time I've gone by before and since, it's been empty, and I've been by there. And again, like I say, I just casually it's on the main street, right by the mall where I would go to the movie theater. So yeah, it's always closed. And I do get a letter. Actually, I just got a letter at Christmas time. They invite me out. They invited me out to a human rights shindig that I got invited to. A Citizens Commission for Human Rights. That the only human right they fight for is the right not to go to a psychologist, which is a narrow definition of human rights, but nevertheless an important one, I guess, if you're a Scientologist. And so it's and I've gotten about 3 or 4 letters from them, and you get all this. That's the other stuff you get from like the anti-Scientology sites. Is you hear that once you're on Scientology's mailing list, you can't get off unless you specifically threaten legal action, because that's Scientology policy. So you can call and request to be removed from the list, and they'll even tell you they'll remove your name from the mailing list, but they really won't unless you threaten legal action. And to be honest, in America, which is where this all cropped up originally, but in Canada too, I don't really think that you do have legal grounds to have someone not send mail to you. I think that's bullshit. But nevertheless, this rule got set way back in like the 60s when Scientology was going bankrupt, or L. Ron was going bankrupt, and they didn't have much money. So they just made a rule that if you threaten them with a lawyer, they'll remove your name from the mailing list. But I've only it's been like 3 years now since I took those courses, and I've gotten maybe like 5 mailings, like one at Christmas and like a couple other ones. So the big once you're on a mailing list, you'll never get off, you'll just be flooded with mail. I'm like, well, I got like 5 letters, so like in 2 years, 3 years. So yeah, I think they send me something at Christmas, and in summertime they send me an invitation to some shindig where they want me to give them money. So it's not like, I do have to say, this is not some deep trick to get you to think, to lure you into Scientology, but yeah, some of the anti stuff is like over the top and just misinformed. Like, and you learn that even like the limited interaction I had with Scientologists. But then there are definitely people who like publicly like make a living out of hating Scientology and bad-mouthing it, and I've considered doing that myself, to be honest. But so a lot of them get the stuff wrong, or they just outright lie. Like, I mean, there's no way around it. You hear some stories where one person tells a dramatic story, and then you'll hear another story about someone who also left the church. To other people who don't have at least a visible or known reason to lie about it, some people will tell a quite different, more tame story than some of the people that make a living off telling stories and then collecting donations based on pro-fighting Scientology or protesting or pro-fighting Scientology. So, but I mean, that's human nature, right? You can't, you can't discuss a family argument that happened a year ago or 2 years ago, and half the family or one member, or actually all the different members of the family, none of them will remember it exactly alike.
Yeah.
But yeah, some people,
Yeah, everybody has different perspectives how they remember things.
yeah, definitely. And somebody
More,
gets
so,
told
so-
something, and
yeah,
then says, instead of being told it, I saw it, sort of thing. But yeah.
yeah, everybody has a different thing that they focus on to what important to them. You know.
Yeah, and some people do outright lie, and some people bullshit,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
they dramatize stuff, and some people lie, and a lot of people just don't remember it the same. And you get that with Scientology, but you do definitely. There are some places where you're like, man, that never happened, and I don't really believe that you think it happened either. And then, a lot of the things that's coming up now is a lot of this stuff is no longer a lot of the anti-Scientology stuff on YouTube, and there are like probably 100 channels that at least tried to make a living off protesting Scientology. And oh, I'm getting an echo now, but
Okay. I'm not sure why. Yeah, it seemed like you're coming through a little bit on my mic. Maybe it's hearing it through the headphones for me. I don't know. My mic.
better. Oh yeah, it seems to have fixed now. There we go. But yeah, like some of the and there is like literally 100, 200 briefly little protest channels, and then they're protesting in places like Los Angeles, but they're protesting all over the states. But the ones that are making major coin, and some of them are like protesters in. Some of them are professional full-time protesters. They just drive around from like city to city and join different protests, and then they go online and try to collect donations, super chats, saying I'm against like give me stuff like uh,
Whatever.
tuberculosis or something. Yeah, and they'll say like I'm protesting it and send me money. And but when they went to LA, what they found out to their discomfort was that Scientology is deeply embedded in the local Los Angeles Police Department around the Scientology offices, and so they've been getting like assaulted and so on at these protests by Nation of Islam members who are affiliated with Scientology, and just like private eyes and so on. But basically, they're getting assaulted on camera and then getting away with it, and the police aren't doing anything about it. They finally did arrest some guy that directly assaulted a guy on camera, and he was like, they had like about 8 people videotaping it, or about 5 people videotaping it, all showing them what happened, and the cops just finally filed charges, and then they just quietly dropped the charges, and that's so a lot of the protesting stuff now is not even about Scientology. It's about what happens on these protest lines. And the people doing on the protest line are either, some of them are professional protesters, a lot of them are wannabes with their own YouTube channels. And then some of them are actually former Scientologists, but they're like fairly rare. And then there's these mystery people who go in to cause fights, and there's no proof on camera or anywhere else that I know of that the people hired to get in fights with the protesters are Scientology related. So all you see on camera is like protesters, and I have to admit these protesters, many of them go way over the line. Like I did union picketing when we were like legally on strike at companies and picketing and stuff, and so I did learn I learned a lot of Ontario picketing law, to be honest, so we didn't get arrested. And the protesters are doing stuff in Los Angeles that if they did in Ontario would get you arrested, or could get you arrested, depending on the attitude of the police. And they're like getting people's faces, like an inch from their face and shouting and so on. And so I can see why they're not getting much help with the people who are assaulting them on the line, even though some of that is terrible. Like one guy that I think is like a paid thug, but there's no proof. He's this black guy, right, sort of our size, like a big guy, a little bit more in shape, um, with a walking cane, and he's got a pit bull, and he's walking his pit bull down the road, and he's threatening to release the pit bull on people. But the protesters are getting this guy's face, man. Like, he's a guy who's like 6'3", like 300 pounds, fat, not, like you could probably outrun him. Even I could probably outrun him, but not his dog. And he's got like a pit bull on a leash, and he's got a cane, which he doesn't need to walk. At least he can sure pick it up and smash people with it and stuff, and swing it at people. And so there's lots of kind of weird stuff with anti-Scientology fans.
Yeah.
And actually, there's an interesting guy who teaches just down the road in Edmonton. His name is Professor Stephen. It's not Albert. That's the name of the town. Stephen something or other. But and he's one of the foremost anti-Scientology academics. And academics aren't supposed to be divided between pro and anti, but they really are. Like you're supposed to be an academic, like I'm seeking truth. But there's a whole group of people that study, they call them new religions, they don't call them cults. Because to be honest, they're just a set of beliefs that are followed by people without much evidence, to be honest, if that's a Christian definition of religion or an atheist who grew up in Christianity's definition of religion. So they study new religions, and they actually, some of the new religion stuff gets absolutely trashed by the anti-Scientology protesters. But when you read it, does become a little more compelling, because they say basically most of the academic research in the 70s, on quote new religions, for one, called them cults, and a lot of it was done to try to outlaw them or sue them, and these academics would come and be professional witnesses. They'd be professional witnesses in trials against, like what was that Indian one that was really big? The Maharishi Mahesh Yogi guy, the Indian cult, the giant one. Everyone's heard of.
I think I know what you're talking about, but there's a difference between. Oh, Hare Krishnas?
Hare Krishnas, yeah. So there'd be academics, and Hare Krishnas would get sued all the time because someone would say, "Oh, I gave all my money to Hare Krishnas, and I want it back." And then an academic would say, "Oh, they got tricked. They didn't know when they were signing those forms over that it was going to cost them all their money, and then, oh yeah, and here they are on film now, signing these forms, saying I do know what I'm thinking, and I'm still giving me my money, and here's me on camera saying I don't want to speak to my parents, but don't look at any of that. Don't look at any of that. It's all the religion. He really has, like, magical control over his mind, and the Maharishi is." So basically, a lot of what I actually agree that a lot of the so-called research in the 60s and 70s suffers from the fact that they're defining an organization by people who have left it and people who are protesting it. And many major organizations have people like that in them. And it's like asking people who've been fired from McDonald's, like, what do you think of working at McDonald's? Like, there's some basic truths. Yeah, McDonald's sucks. They don't pay much. They're hot, greasy. You have to put up with asshole customers. So there's a baseline of, like, truth that, okay, McDonald's may suck, but if you put up an academic paper only of fired McDonald's employees, like, what's it going to compare to all the happy McDonald's employees who, like, remembered as, like, the best job they had in high school and stuff like that? And
or the people that have been working there for 50 years.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So if you are going to base your quote-unquote research off just interviews with people who've been trashed, kicked out, then you're going to develop like a bad view of cults.
Yeah, well, and the question then becomes, why were they fired?
Yeah, exactly. And they come up with all the. That's actually, there's only a couple of books. There's really only a couple of respected academics in the field that are still like anti-cult, right? And like call themselves like anti-cult. And there's one is Robert Lifton's The Psychology of Totalitarianism, I think it is. And what he wrote his book on was during the Korean War, they had this weird thing where they would invite an American, like a captured American POW, would go through a North Korean like communist show trial, and they'd have like a whole audience in a big movie theater or a big theatrical setup of the courtroom, and they would try the American POWs and convict them of being guilty of like war crimes and everything, and that's all fine. But what would happen was some of them, not a lot, but some of them would go on TV camera and say, I denounce America, America is evil, I never want to live there again, Americans pick puppies, whatever, right? Like the whole, like I hate America. And some of them even supposedly said stuff like that when they were back in the States. So, I don't know, part of that, I mean, so...
Yeah, well, that's usually being a form of brainwashing.
Yeah, so that's where the term brainwashing came from. Largely from this Robert Lifton guy, The Psychology of Totalism, trying to explain why North Korean prisoners of war suddenly, or not suddenly, but after treatment became anti-American. And so they tried to say that, they're not really in their right mind, that they're really being controlled, that someone that, and once you're back in, like, Indiana or something like that, there's less and less evidence that you're being controlled. But, like, there is a real control. Like, I can walk up to you off camera with a gun and say, right now, read out online, like, all your bank account numbers or whatever, right? And if I have a gun offline, just out of sight, and I tell you and just whisper to you, like, smile, now nod your head, now say you hate America, now, like, give out all your banking information. That's about the only form of coercive control that the law, recognizes, which is the threat of violence or harm to you or someone you care about. That is the legal definition of coercive control. But what a couple of academics, there's another guy who actually, I think he teaches, or he graduated from like Columbia or something. He was a Hare Krishna for a couple of years, for several years actually. He was like deeply, quote unquote, indoctrinated into it, and actually got a deprogrammer involved, so they kidnapped him. His parents kidnapped him and like held him illegally for a couple of days. But thankfully, he came out of it. And but he's trying to make this book that there's this thing. They're trying to get law made. And again, he's one of these old school academics who's an anti-Scientology academic and an anti-quote cult academic. And he tries to say that people's wills shouldn't be followed. People's money should be given back to them. People should be kicked out of their houses and give the house back to the person who owned it before, all because of, like, they were all in a cult. At the time they were signing these legal documents and notarizing them and getting them witnessed and taking them to a lawyer and getting them proved that they were all under this control of this cult and therefore they should get their house back. But
a lot of those people, I won't say they're controlled, but they're manipulated. There is a certain degree of some that are controlled for sure. Well, in a sense, that that you've messed with their brain enough.
You're walking onto a minefield there that, like, again, has been going on for like 50 years. Because like everybody knows what does the word manipulate, right? Like, do I tell you, oh God, you're such a handsome man, you're so handsome, if only you gave me $1,000, I could fly to Hamilton and we could be together forever, right? So that's the thing.
Well, I can give, I can give an example of manipulation that I have done to somebody else, and this is a long time ago. I had a friend that, he liked going to movies, and I didn't never always had the money to go to movies, and if I happened to be hanging with him, and I pretended like I didn't know what day it is, and I asked him, "What day is it?" And he'd say, "Oh, it's Tuesday," and then suddenly he would say, "Hey, you want to go see a movie?" Because Cheap Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
I manipulated him into him taking me to a movie.
Yeah. Yeah. So should we go to jail or what? Like, did you get bucks back or whatever it cost back then? But the thing is in court, what court is mainly about is extracting money from men and giving it to women. You might think court is about something else. I assure you it's not, or at least that's its primary function in court. And so women go through what is the thing that they generate the most money for individually, and that's divorce cases. And what happens in divorce cases is men lose their houses and men lose half their income, and it's handed over to women. Now,
as alimony.
Hey, as a man, if you go into court and say to this bitch, she just kept sucking my dick, I never meant to marry her, I never would have gone to the courthouse and signed the papers, I never would have gone to the legal clerk and requested a marriage license, I never would have signed it out, but she manipulated me, man, she sucked my dick for 24 hours straight, and I went home and did that, and now she owns my house. So judge, can I change my mind? Can I get my house back? And the judge says no.
There are a few incidents, I will not admit, not many, where women have to pay alimony to the guy.
Yeah, that's a myth. That's like a black myth.
I've seen videos and all that on YouTube, a few of them.
Sure, there's 6 billion people on planet Earth. 3.5 billion of them are men and give their money to women one way or another.
Let's keep it in the Western world, because we know that's not happening in the we'll say Muslim countries.
Well, they just don't have divorce, but that's not true. In Muslim countries, women aren't expected to earn an income. You're supposed to pay all the fucking bills. So there, instead of extracting all their money through a divorce, they extract all their money through marrying a guy, and it's a lifetime ticket to this guy opening me a house and an income, and I have to pay to raise my kids forever.
But the guy in that culture can divorce the wife for whatever reason.
Yeah, that's the difference. But yeah.
And then she gets nothing.
Well, there's a heavy social sanction in this, man. But yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's why if I was ever gonna join a more culturally dominant religion, it would be Islam. And hopefully, I can't wait for Muslims to start rewriting divorce laws. But unfortunately, it's going to be about 20 years after I'm dead. But anyway, so the reason that you can't get these terms of manipulation strong enough to break a contract is otherwise you could go to court and you could break all sorts of other contracts. Like, I really didn't mean to bet all that money at the casino. Got me drunk, served me alcohol, they played bright lights. They put on a Celine Dion concert to attract me there. Like, they completely manipulated me to going in the library and dropping, $100,000 on the craps table on the way out of the salon.
There are cases like that are being tried. I know most aren't being won, but I think there are a few that have been won, which is getting casinos to, be a little bit leery of, extending, somebody, whatchamacallit, money.
Yeah.
Alone.
But you're pointing to like a pink star and saying, look, there are stars, they're pink. But
I know I'm pointing to more the exception, but
So
What we have to admit that the exception is there, and that it could, over a long period of time, become something different. And hey, Devil Flyer, how are you?
Hey, Double Flyer, how are you doing?
How was your Christmas? How is your how was your Christmas? And any plans for New Year's?
What's up?
I admit
Yep.
nothing.
Hi.
Oh, you got somebody else?
Hi, is this Double Flyer?
Oh, hey, Rebellious.
Oh man. I can't stay for long, but I'm here.
Well, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. And I'm not going to be on
Thank
much
you.
longer anyways.
Yeah, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
New Year's Eve is tomorrow, right? That's right.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, technically in about 9, well, it depends where you live, but for me in about 9 minutes,
Yeah, I'm still
it'll be
alive.
New Year's Eve day. New Year's Eve day.
Yeah. Yeah, it should be fine.
But are you a new kind of classes?
Pardon?
The Moose
Am I a new what? Sorry?
friend.
I,
I've met you a couple of times. That's probably why you don't recognize me.
he,
Social.
Cool.
in there, and he's gone. He's had a couple names in the chat. He's been around for about a year, maybe a bit more.
Yeah, I'm gonna hop off since I'm so tired. Have a good
Okay.
rest of your night.
Okay, you too, Rebellious. Have a good New Year's Eve.
You too.
Devil Flyer says Christmas plans was fine. Christmas was fine. No plans really. I guess for New Year's. And he says Happy New Year's, New Year's, Rick and Panel. Thank you from all of us.
Thank you. Yeah. No, you go on Mike. Are you one of the weekly readers? Yeah, you are. Double Flyer for Mike's channel, the Mike Stand. You read old comic books from the 40s and 50s.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 40s now. It was 30s for a while, and now these are in the 40s. Eventually, it'll be the 50s in about 50 years.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if Mike's with that out. Like, how fast is he going to progress through the decades? Because, like, he's only got 2 decades left himself. So if he does, like, I don't know, if he does 5 years a decade, he's going to be dead long before he reaches the turn of the century. But, oh well.
Yeah,
Everybody needs a hot.
yeah. I don't know how fast he's going to get it done, or whatever. But, all the power to him.
Yeah, sure.
But, yeah, Devil Flyer does... Devil Flyer... Devil Flyer does go on every so often.
Yeah, no, I've enjoyed some of Mike's presentations, Double Flyer. Thanks for the enjoyment you've given me.
Yeah, and of course Devil Flyer has his own channel, which is pretty good, I would say. If you want to put a link, Rex, for your channel or for your book in your campaign in the chat, feel free. If you're still here too.
Well, actually, Rick, what are you gonna do? You're just gonna watch some movies and shows for New Year's Eve too? Is that
Yeah, I'm going over to a buddy's. A buddy invited me over for New Year's Eve. I'm just gonna bring my the Blu-ray player that I bought from my cousin last year or the year before. I forget when. Gonna bring it over. Bring some movies that I have here over, unless I can find some new ones at Small Mart tomorrow that are on sale because of Boxing Week.
Yeah, fantastic. Oh, you know something you might. I don't know. I do. You, how How do you like Star Wars? Do you like it, love it, indifferent to it?
Well, I like, of course, I like the original trilogy the best.
Hmm.
The other stuff, most of it is all right, half decent. I think I like the prequels better.
Oh, sorry, you just cut out. You like the prequels better than what? You just started to.
Most people.
Um,
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. What did you say about the prequels?
I like the prequels better than I believe most people do. Um,
Yeah, I do too.
the
Have you
sequel.
watched Skeleton? Have you watched Skeleton Crew? Though? They
Oh
watched
yeah,
the.
yeah, yeah. I think I have. Have I?
It's the Star Wars TV show that's just coming out right now. It's so obviously based on the Goonies in the '80s.
Okay, I don't think I've seen any of those episodes yet. Um,
Oh man, like Disney has just done horrors on Star Wars, and I know they've like sucker punched totally all their clients when they did The Mandalorian season 1 and 2, and it looked like, oh my god, they actually like white men again. This is like actually good and not just junk. And then they sucker punch it again, like all those other series. But I hate
yeah,
to say it, but Skeleton Crew, this is the first time, if I, as an 8-year-old, had gone and seen Skeleton Crew and I had seen Star Wars, the original, I would have thought Skeleton Crew was the best Star Wars. If I was 8 years old, now I would think Skeleton Crew is the best Star Wars, and I'd love Star Wars again. And I do think actually Andor is the best adult Star Wars ever, by far. I mean, the writing is just psychologically and politically
and
so much more
you mean
sophisticated than the
Andor?
original.
Andor?
Yeah, Andor. Yeah, the series Andor.
Yeah,
It's
you know,
actually it's brilliantly written about like
yeah,
people's motivations are fantastic. The
yeah.
motivations of the people in the original trilogy were bullshit. Like even the drug smuggler Han Solo. Like why does he come back to save Luke? For altruistic reasons.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
a drug dealer who's been a drug dealer in his 20s
Well,
suddenly gives up.
he's not a drug dealer. He's a smuggler. There's a slight difference. He doesn't care what the it is.
He
He'll
sells
smuggle.
he sells well yeah, okay. So he sells cocaine or
He
whatever by the
he
shitload.
he doesn't sell it.
Yeah,
He just gets it from place to place for whomever. He just gets paid to transport it.
okay, yeah, but a lot of smugglers actually own the cargoes. Otherwise, yeah,
Yeah.
whatever. But basically, he makes his income off dealing drugs or spice, which I think actually in one show actually do equate to drugs or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, like he's a ne'er do well criminal, and suddenly he becomes for no reason altruistic and risks his life to save Luke.
Yeah.
And everybody else is altruistic. Like the princess, what the hell? Like she's noble. Like she literally just wants justice and good, and that's why she does things. And Andor, people do all sorts of different things. They do violent things. They do
Yeah.
like good things, and they do it for all sorts of different reasons. And with Andor, when you look at it more carefully, it's just 1,000 times more complicated Andor
Yeah.
and more sophisticated, more realistic than
Yeah.
Star Wars.
Well, I
Like
can agree.
second,
I can agree with you on Han, him just suddenly deciding to come back and help Luke
so,
and say instead
yeah,
of go save his own butt. Although there's some really a plot twist hole between 1 and 2. Like why hasn't he went after the whole thing of blowing up this Death Star? Why didn't he go just right then and say give the money to Jabba that he needs? Why has he waited whatever the time in between these two movies? That's in the Star
yeah,
Wars.
yeah.
You
But
know.
but Andor's actually So Andor, I think, is, to be honest, as an adult, Andor is the most sophisticated Star Wars by a mile. And I mean, we're not even talking close. But skeleton crew, when you're just talking about like children's literature or children's movies, is I think like I said, if I saw it now, it would be my favorite Star Wars. But
Well-
I mean, I grew up. I saw New Hope as the first movie. Me and my dad watched the whole way through. The first movie I ever went to see, I think I told you this, was I'm pretty sure was Airplane. And in the opening scene, which I don't remember, my dad got up and pulled me out and we left the theater. And I think, and only years later did I realize Airplane began with the blowjob scene in the cockpit where the guy has to blow the autopilot with like an inflatable doll and his penis is the mouthpiece.
Yeah.
But so Dad took us out of that, and this is a small town theater, right? Only one theater, only one screen, only one family worked there. So the next week when we went to see Star Wars, the woman who sold us the ticket said, and I've remembered this ever since, I think you'll like this movie better than the other one, as she looked at me and my dad, and then we walked in to see Star Wars. It was just the bomb. But so like that's the first movie I ever saw. It's one of the most pleasant memories of my dad I will ever have.
Yeah.
So Star Wars will always be Star Wars. But like I said, for the first time in my life, I watched Skeleton Crew. Like when I saw the prequels, I didn't hate them because I saw them in my mid-30s, like I guess all of us. And I remember thinking, what I do remember thinking is when I saw the pod racing and the Anakin scenes in, was it, God, what even was the movie called? Like,
The Phantom Menace?
The Phantom Menace, yeah. I can, even when I saw the pod racing stuff, I kept thinking, you know, if I were 8, how would I like, what would I be thinking now? And all I could think of was I'm old and just literature and movies. They don't have the same emotional makeup as I did when I was a kid. Your emotions died.
Yeah. Now, I was in '77 when thing came out. I was like 4, so I never went to see the first Star Wars movies in theaters when it originally aired. Back when they did, I saw the Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi in theaters when they originally aired.
I was 7, so I'm just a couple of years older.
Yeah. But when Lucas did the remastered versions, you know, added the scenes, I went to see the Star Wars A New Hope in theater.
Yeah, that was
and I was for one day. Unfortunately, I didn't get to do this. For one day in the theaters that were playing them in here, they had all 3. I wanted to go see all 3 on the same day. The remaster, and I missed it by. I didn't have the money or whatever, I was hoping it would be more than one day, but the next day they were all out. It was like crap. It would have been so cool. You go in and see Phantom or go in and see New Hope. You know, then the next go see Empire and then Return of the Jedi. It would have been neat, but it didn't happen.
Have you watched any of the Disney TV shows since then? Like all the terrible ones? Like
Yeah. The only one that I haven't seen. The only one that I haven't seen. So the only Star Wars show that I haven't seen so far is the one that.
You just roboted out again. Just for a second.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I
Yeah, I was saying the only thing I haven't seen of Star Wars at this point, as far as I know, is the latest series. Well, not Skeleton Crew, but the one just before.
That was the Acolyte.
Yeah, I'll probably download it in the next week or so, and I'll probably end up. I have a friend that I got to go over and feed her cats starting the 6th of January through the 20th, and I'll probably put it on a flash drive and put it into her Blu-ray player and watch it on this, like 60-inch screen or whatever it is she has, or 55,
Yeah.
and watch it, each episode, because I can go. Well, she's away on holidays. She doesn't mind me
Yeah.
watching stuff on her TV or whatever. So
If you want to enjoy it the most you can, if you want a free recommendation, just think of it as not as Star Wars, children's sci-fi. Just stand on the book that this is like tween or teenage like sci-fi movie.
yeah,
Don't really think about Star Wars and the canon that it keeps breaking. Then I got a little bit of enjoyment out of the show, but not much. And there are a couple of good scenes though. There are a couple of genuinely like well done scenes.
yeah.
But there's a lot of like, really awesome.
Yeah, I know there's going to be a lot of cringe moments and probably in it, and I try and get through it the best I can.
Did you see the Obi-Wan TV show?
Yeah, I actually thought that wasn't too bad.
Oh yeah. You told me the black chick dies. I told you I saw a promotional like a Conan scene where they had like oh god, what's Christopher Hayden or what's Darth Vader's name or Anakin's the actor for the actor. What's his name?
Oh, Leonardo DiCaprio? No.
No, who played Darth Vader in the prequels?
Oh, I'm not sure who played him in the crew.
Anakin Skywalker.
Oh.
Christopher Hayden.
Oh, I'm not sure.
He plays. Oh, okay. Well, anyway, they had Anakin, and then they had who plays Obi-Wan? My brain's not working. The famous British actor, Ewan McGregor.
Yeah.
They had Ewan McGregor, and they had like Christopher Hayden, who's Star Wars famous. They had Ewan McGregor, who's like worldwide famous. They had.
If you want to leave that there, I will bring it into your room in a minute.
Okay. Nice.
Who's like Star Wars world famous. And
Yeah.
then they had this unknown black chick. And the black one sitting right beside the TV show presenter in the chair. And they had the two white guys who are worldwide stars sitting on the couch as her second bananas. And once I saw that, I was like, I'm never watching Obi-Wan. I don't need that bullshit in my life. Like the sassy, magic, black girl, magic, sci-fi girl, no thanks. No strong black women in my sci-fi as far as possible. So it was just, yeah. So I was just so disgusted by Obi-Wan. It was like, how,
Yeah.
and there actually were a couple of little cartoons that they kind of flipped by me too. Like there's stuff like Tales of there's Star Wars, there's one that had little cartoons that were one-off, half-hour. I saw one that was set in Japan, and it was just, they were called, Star Wars Visions or something.
Okay, I might not have seen that stuff.
Yeah, it's actually, it's not bad, but again, if you just think that it's not Star Wars, it's just like children's side. Because again, they were trying to, they just set it all in what was obviously like a sci-fi world and everything. It was all obviously so medieval Japanese. I like Samurai Flex, so I can like that little cartoon.
Yeah, when I watch something, I try and watch it from probably a few different perspectives. Like,
yeah, like what do you have in mind?
when I was just up at my dad's, I started watching Bel Air, the redone.
Bel Air.
And it's really totally different than, Fresh Prince.
Oh, right, okay.
Because it's a lot more dramatic. It's longer episodes. It's not the half-hour thing. It's like an hour thing. Some of the characters are very similar. Some of them are very different. Like Hillary is not a dunce in this at all.
Oh yeah. Good girl.
Yeah, and they're introducing Ashley. They're trying to get her to be gay or bi at 12 years old.
Oh, weird.
You know, so there's that. Carlton is somewhat of a drug addict.
No way. Are they black? Are these people black?
Yeah,
Is there a show about a kid show about a black drug addict?
this is not this is not a kid show.
Oh, Bel Air isn't a kid show. Oh, it's like some sort of sequel. Is it a reimagining?
Reimagining.
Oh,
It's like what Riverdale is to Archie.
oh, okay.
But this, I might say, is slightly better than Riverdale. I couldn't get past the second episode of Riverdale. I've actually watched.
Yeah,
Actually, you know, like I actually watched 6 or 7 episodes when I was up at my dad's of it. You know, and there's 3 seasons, so you know,
yeah.
and I'm not sure how many episodes are to the season. Again, it's another one that I meant to I'll probably download. You know, it's one that I've been wanting to check out for a while when I heard about it, and it's like, okay, I knew it was going to be slightly off, and you know, it's different. It's really different. I don't know why I can accept this compared to Archie. Maybe it's because I'm more a bigger fan of Archie.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
it's like Disney Star Wars. The less you actually like the original property, sometimes the easier it is to enjoy the sequel or something.
yeah, but I really like the original Fresh Prince. You know, like I've got the first couple seasons on DVD, and I'd like to get the whole series on DVD. You know, I don't mind watching. If I'm watching television and it comes on, I'll stop and watch the episode. I like them. You know, they're usually a good laugh. You know.
So is Bel Air? How long did Bel Air come out? I never heard of it.
Well, like I said, it said 3 seasons. I'm not sure whether it's in the middle of the 3rd season or whether it's fully out. So, like a couple years ago, at least I'd say.
Oh wow! And is it on like linear television, like cable, or is it on?
I was watching it through Stack TV. My dad has Stack TV.
Okay.
So.
Okay, so it could either be pay TV or Netflix or anything, right? Do you know who did it? Was it Netflix, HBO, or?
No, it wasn't Netflix because it's not on Netflix. Stack TV. They have a global history channel there. It's attached to Prime. Prime might have done it, but I don't think it. I don't think it said Prime before starting it. I forget the opening stuff of who it said and all that. Like I said, it's not too bad. It's probably. I would suggest if you can get it, you know, watch the first episode, see what you think. You know,
I would. I never liked. I could never stand the lead actor, even as a teenager. What's his name? Will Smith.
Oh yeah.
I always thought he would do this, but.
Yeah, well.
Because I usually try not to not. If I like or don't like an actor, for one, I realize I know nothing about them, right? Because everything I know about them has gone through a publicity machine, or at least it used to until social media, and that I'm only seeing absolute glimpses of them. That it's all bullshit. And the other thing is sometimes you watch a movie and you like or don't like an actor, and because of the character that they're playing, so now you don't like, one of the, guys in The Godfather because he's a monster. So yeah, so I try not to like or dislike actors, but Will Smith, I think, is probably the one actor that I actually dislike to the point where I don't like watching shit because I don't like him.
Well, Will Smith himself is not in this.
Oh, okay, yeah, I guess not. It's Bel Air. But yeah, that's why I never liked.
I do think his son is playing the character that he played in the thing. The first episode goes actually a little bit more into the thing of why he got sent out to Bel Air. Although they skim over it, of course, in the opening credits of the original TV series. You still there? Okay, yeah, he's still here. He's muted though. Can everybody hear me? Hey, DLK, how are you? Okay, can you hear
Oh,
me?
can you hear me now?
Yeah, can hear you now.
Yeah, I just actually auto-muted my tablet.
Yeah, but I'm not sure whether you heard the. I think his kid is playing. You know him. You know, one of his kids is
Oh,
playing the Will Smith character.
Yeah, that's cool.
But
How do you
well,
relate to a black urban youth in Los Angeles with a billionaire or a millionaire as a father? How do you relate to that content? Or what do you think of it? Or what appeals about it to you?
well, obviously the first thing is, you know, well, I like the original series. I thought it was funny. I don't care whether they're black, white, or whatever. Obviously it probably brings a little bit to it.
Will Smith cares. Probably the most helpful thing to Will Smith about you is what color you are. But yeah, you can say whatever you want to him. But he'll care about you.
Yeah, well,
But yeah.
who cares what he thinks? I don't care what he thinks about me. I don't know him. He's not really a part of my life.
Okay.
Maybe that should mean I don't want to give him money by, watching his stuff or whatever. I don't know, but
Oh
Yeah.
no, it's funny when white people say about black people, oh, I don't care what color they are. That's hilarious because, trust me, American black people care what color you are, and it'll have a big effect on how they treat you. But
Yeah.
you can do anything you want, obviously. Well, not anything you want.
and hey, DLK here is saying he's doing great. How was your Christmas? Any plans for New Year's? I visit my dad for Christmas, the week of Christmas. Gonna be chilling with a buddy, watching some movies for New Year's myself, as I've said a few times tonight. And although I'm probably going to be ending soon, because normally I was be done about 17 minutes ago. But I'll let DLK answer. Well, waiting. And although you can't see him, the other voice you're hearing is a friend of the channel who's been in the chat quite a few times. Elk. Well, once known as Elk, and then now known as Parasocial Audience.
Hi, DLK. Nice to meet you online.
Is DLK somebody you happen to know in real life?
No.
Okay.
I met them, but I'm only meeting you online, so there you go.
Okay, that's the reason I asked, because you said they online. It made it sound like you might have known who they were in real life. Yeah, so... Well, I know you weren't... You said you're not a big fan of Will Smith, but if you want, maybe check out the first episode, worst thing is, you don't like it, right? Don't watch the rest.
Yeah, no, I might.
Yeah, because it's definitely more of a drama series, for sure. I'm not sure how to describe it besides drama. It's definitely not comedy, and most...
Oh, you just roboted out after comment. Oop, and you crashed, did you?
There we go.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah, I froze for a sec. When I freeze, I know my thing's done. But yeah, I said it's not a comet. It's not comedy. It's a drama. I'm not sure how else to describe it besides that. It's
Still
not.
got a million Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, well, like he's, again, it starts out with him in West Philly, right? And does the stuff that leads up to him getting sent out. Where in the thing, they don't really show you the complete thing of what happened on the basketball court. This shows you more exactly what happened.
Okay. Yeah.
In the first episode and him getting sent out and all that.
Yeah, and the original was just a crawl, or it was the opening credits over that stupid song. But yeah.
So,
What other shows do you watch these days? Or what are you liking watching these days?
well, I've been watching the show Alone. I'm not sure whether you've heard of it.
No, I haven't.
It takes 10 contestants and puts them in the middle of the wilderness. They get like 10 items of their own, plus they get a bunch of film equipment, and they have to survive.
Oh, okay.
And the first 2 seasons are on northern Vancouver Island.
Yeah.
Third season is in Patagonia, and then fourth season they come back to. I think for 4th and 5th season they come back to North Vancouver Island, and then they go somewhere else. Else in the world, I forget where exactly offhand, and then they come back.
I think you can still get free farmland in Patagonia if you just sign an agreement with the government to like convert it into actual active farmland. If you actually plant crops in it, they'll give away the land for free.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
pretty sure these. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, go on.
Yeah, and then they just finished the 11th season of this. I've watched up to 9 at this point. So 6 and 7 were in Northwest Territories. I think it was most of, and then the last season 9. Where was seasons 7 and 8 were in Grizzly Mountain or Lake or something like that. I think it was somewhere else in BC.
Great Slave Lake.
Well, I think they were by Great Slave Lake, and then season 9 they were in Labrador. And season 10, although I just...
It's Global that does that alone?
I'm not sure who does it. I think it's come out through the History Channel, believe it or not, but I'm not sure.
Oh, cool.
But I haven't watched season 10, but before I went away after I finished season 9, I opened up the first episode of season 10 to find out where they'd be. And they are in northern Saskatchewan.
Oh, well, there's polar bears up there, that's like sure.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
It's cool that most of it's been done on Canada. Most of the contestants, of course, have been American. There is usually a Canadian a Canadian or two in every single season. A Canadian has one season as well.
Oh yeah, they probably use it for tax purposes, I imagine, to write off the grants with the show.
Yeah, be a Canadian show or whatever, or film in Canada. So, that's pretty cool. It's actually a pretty cool show. It's like, in some ways it's something I'd like to do, but I know you look at these people and the way that they what they have to go through, there's no way that you could do it, or most people could do it. You know,
Yeah.
it would be the great weight loss program.
Yeah.
Because you have to set up a shelter, you know, to protect yourself from the elements, and then you have to, you know, forage, fish, hunt, you know, set up snares and stuff like that, you know. And, you know, sometimes you don't catch fish, and some of these guys are going hungry for like days, weeks at a time. And they do have people that come in and check on them, you know, medically, you know, make sure they're still fit to go through stuff, you know. You can get pulled if they don't think you're medically sound to be able to stay there.
Yeah. Well,
And the last person standing wins $500,000.
oh, there you go. That's good. That sounds like, yeah, I might actually watch that. Did you ever see that show? I think it was called Naked, but it was the same thing, but the contestants were, and sometimes I think they had male and female couples, but they were like naked, basically. Same
Yeah.
idea. And I think it might even have been in Africa or something.
Yeah, I think I've heard of it.
Yeah, they were. I just remember seeing a couple of episodes, and one of them is it makes them film everything so weird and stupid because they got to keep the person's junk out of the way, and then with women, of course, they have to keep their breasts and their junk off camera. So when they filmed it, it was always weird, and they wanted the person to be naked, right? Like they couldn't just have a woman put on a bikini or even have like a guy put on like some spandex, and that would get you the same. Like, as far as survival goes and health goes, wearing a spandex, a speedo, or a bikini and being naked is pretty much the same. But for some reason, they went to the aesthetic of naked, and they had to use weird necklace.
Yeah, well, just saying they're naked just gives it's a cash, for lack of a better way of saying, a cash grab. It's a gimmick to get people to watch.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's like it makes. Well, yeah, I wouldn't have remembered the show, honestly, like 5 years, 10 years later if they weren't naked. So yeah, it worked in a way. But yeah.
Oh well, what were you gonna say?
Oh yeah, I'm trying to think of some reality things I enjoy. But,
Yeah, so I like a lot of different types of shows myself. I'm not sure what I'm going to be watching after Alone because I've got 2 seasons to go, and
Well, Andor's coming out in February or something, I think. But that was the one thing I hated about Blue TV is that they only like when they did Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I mean, God, they were probably making like 30 episodes a season or something.
well, half-hour shows usually get a little bit more than hour shows, but I liked it when shows got 20 plus episodes a season. These 10 episodes a season it's a killer.
Yeah,
10.
it's not enough. And then you're waiting a year usually, like a whole year.
Yeah.
Although, to be honest, this is all screwed up because Netflix really began with COVID or just a couple of years before COVID.
Oh, Netflix has been around a lot longer than that, but
Yeah, but they really ramped up the number of shows they did lately. Like
Yeah.
they were losing money until like 3 years ago. They were losing they lost a couple of billion dollars at least just cranking out TV no one was watching, and they really ramped that up over COVID. So we have all these shows, but they're all like a year apart, and they're all and so yeah, like frankly, it's been like a year and a half since I saw Andor season 1. And I'm like, if it weren't Star Wars and it weren't Andor, like after a year, I was like, I'm hearing that. Like House of the Dragon, I couldn't remember in the second season. I couldn't remember anything in the first, and I just didn't have like 11 hours to sit down and rewatch the whole first season.
yeah.
So I watched the second season just trying to guess what everything was like related to. Like,
Yeah.
what did-
Have I watched the second season yet? I know I watched the first season.
of House of the Dragon?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's they're years apart, and to be honest, I have some like mental issues. My memory isn't all it should be, so I have also difficulty trying to keep track like who's who and
Yeah.
another thing and they're like these grand narrative things like Game of Thrones where they have like all these different threads, all these different narrative
Yeah.
threads, and all these different actors, and then they have the same character played by a different actor at different ages of their life. So
Yeah.
like the same actors who played people in season one, I think a couple of characters they swapped out actors for them in season two. So I get really bad at it. It's so bad that I have to invite friends over Sunday afternoons to watch sci-fi, and we like anyone else who joined our group would get killed because we talk the whole time during the show. We just ask like questions like, okay, so who the hell is that, or who's that girl, and how does that relate to this scene, and so like why is that person happy, or do you think that person is going to betray that person? Like, so
Yeah.
basically we talk the whole time through watching TV, which I know, used to irritate me when I'm not the one doing it, but
Yeah.
yeah.
I know what you mean. Well, see, the thing is, you know what you should do with that, right? Especially if it's the first time watching, you should film yourselves and make it a
Yeah.
reaction channel.
Yeah. Yes, we could. But,
Because reaction channel, some reaction channels do good, some don't. Depending on what the
Yeah.
content is.
yeah.
I've done some reaction stuff over my Pied Piper channel,
Oh, yeah.
so.
Yeah, no, that would be fun.
And if you get enough content, you get enough followers, maybe you guys make some money at it, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I should try to do a YouTube channel with something, but I usually get these like grand plans and then make things too complicated. And then because everything's complicated, I have an excuse not to do anything.
Yeah, well, that's why you start it simple.
Yeah.
Let it get complicated later when you're making money.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good plan. But it's like Brett Cooper, a young conservative girl for the Daily Wire. I think she only started off like 3 years ago, and she got a channel up to 4 million subscribers. And then just like last week, they fired her and kept her channel and put the producer in to replace her. But yeah, I don't know. That just strikes me that there's like Brett Cooper. She's like 23 or something, or even 22 or 21.
Well, I think she's a little older than that. She's probably like 25.
Hey, you think that old?
Yeah.
Well, maybe 23, 24. But yeah, but she's just like, and she did all that in 2 years. She had like a 4 million.
Yeah, but that was help. That was with the help of the Daily Wire. Not that she wasn't doing good on her own before they came to her. And that's why they came to her. She was doing somewhat decent. Now for whatever reason they're parting ways, and she can go make her own channel again, and I think she could do. I think she'll get a lot of the subscribers. Probably a quarter, maybe half.
She's got like 400,000 subscribers already, and she hasn't posted a single video yet to her YouTube channel.
Yeah.
So something's going on there. She hasn't made any videos since leaving Daily Wire yet. So.
Yeah, well, there's probably a buffer room, whatever. She can create the channel.
Probably signed with NDAs and like separation agreements and stuff like that. So
what's a non-compete clause or whatever?
Yeah, non-disclosure agreements, non-complete and non-disparagement clause. I bet you she has signed a non-disparagement clause. Like they probably dropped a bunch of money in front of her and said, "Sign here." So we're probably never going to hear their real. Well, actually, that's not true. That's thankfully human nature. We'll hear some weird, unauthorized version of what quote really happened. but she's probably already signed an agreement never to say what really happened.
Yeah,
And not
neither
to
of
say-
them. Just like with the Candace Owen thing.
Yeah, exactly. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
sometimes I think I should start a channel right away, and I think, oh, I'll already been a millionaire, and then whenever I try to do something, I make it complicated.
And it's all about making it not complicated. Just do something simple, you know. And
Yeah.
the main thing is, like if you do the reaction channel, it's the editing. That's the worst part.
Yeah.
Sitting through that video and cutting it up, because you only, depending on what you're watching, you only want it what. If you're watching an hour video, you only want the video half an hour.
Yeah.
No, half an hour, and that's with a lot of you talking in it.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
But
I might put a better channel this year. Are you trying to go to bed? Is it bedtime in your part of the world yet?
well, technically, I'm probably going to be going to bed soon for sure because it's 12:30. But I am definitely trying to end the stream.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah. Well, if I don't see you again between now and the new year,
Yeah.
New Year.
Well, yeah, probably. I'm not going to be on anything. I can't see myself being on anything tomorrow, today, depending on where you are. Might do something on Wednesday, and if not, for sure, I'm going to try and do my silhouette game on Thursday. Which is going to be 60s cartoons.
Oh, sounds good. All right. Well, have a happy new year, and all the best to you. Try not to die between now and the new year.
Yeah, I'll try not to. Oh, thank you for coming on, and
Wednesday.
thank you for coming on, explaining some Xenu, and
All right.
and
Have a
Happy
good
New
year.
Year.
Have a good year.
You too. See you next year. Okay, and everybody out there, thanks for coming by. Hopefully you've liked and shared this stream. If you haven't, please subscribe. And yeah, thanks for coming by. Hopefully you saw the one drawing. We did Xenu, our version. Maybe we'll do some change up to it. I don't know. But anyways, we'll see you guys all in the new year. So bye for now. God bless. Love you all. Have a great, wonderful day, night, whatever it might be for you. Love you all. God bless.